admirable wife. You're welcome, sir. Excellent. We're privileged to have the Chancellor of the University of Nigeria, the Ooni of Ife, here today, ably represented by two powerful members of the cabinet, Oba Adebisi Shegun Layade, and also the Prince of Ife Kingdom, Professor J.L. Ojoade. We're here in Enugu State, and His Excellency Buruburu is ably represented at this event by the Honorable Commissioner for Local Government Affairs, Honorable Peter Chigozie Okonkwo. Recognitions will continue in a short while as I bring back onto the microphone Professor Wanguma.
Thank you very much, PRO. Thank you very much. As he said, the recognitions will continue, but for now we need to fast track so we can hear the lecture. I understand a number of television channels broadcasting live, and we're here for the lecture and nothing else. Thank you very much. May I most respectfully invite our chairman, His Royal Majesty, as a Professor Chukwemeka Ike, NNOM OFR, to give his opening remarks. Can somebody take the microphone? Music department, can you bring a microphone, please? This one is fixed here. Can you bring a cordless microphone? Thank you very much.
The Chancellor of the University of Nigeria in Nsukka, officials of the university, I would like to give my salute to the Vice Chancellor, who we are all told is the first alumna. We're very happy. We're very happy about your accepting this position, and we wish you all the best. Talking about alumnus of the university, one of the first activities we organized in this university in its early years, in 1963 particularly, to enable the outside world, particularly the employers of labor, to interact with the actual pioneer students of the university. We organized a careers exhibition to enable the employers to see these people have not heard. And Nsukka was a curious university to many people, to interact with them. And the European personnel officer from the Nigerian Tobacco Company, Ibadan, who used to know me when I was assistant registrar in charge of students at University College Ibadan. He came to me and asked me quietly, if you are in my position, will you touch any of these people? That's our pioneer student. Will you touch any of them? I said, yes, I will. And then, in fact, to suit action to the word, I obtained permission from the authorities of the University of Nigeria to employ two of the graduating students in the registrar's department. One of them was the first president of the Students' Union of the university, BAC John. He became professor, became registrar of the university years later, and I'm told a building stands to his name on this campus. The second was unn.edu.ng, who became a permanent secretary in the State Civil Service before too long, and whom I wanted, because I should left the university sometime after, to become the registrar of the West African Council. I offered him a position as chief personnel officer of the council, and he was moved to Accra with me. But his wife did not share in that enthusiasm, so Eya remained behind. Talking about the alumnus, again, the alumni, I wish to pay tribute to the alumni, great lions and great lionesses. I do so particularly because many years ago, the Alumni Association tracked me down in my village and came to say they were sorry that the university authorities did not seem to share their opinion about my contribution, the various things I did to help the university get started. And they came to thank me for my role in the establishment of the university. They followed it thereafter by conferring on me the title of Grand Commander of the Den. So I'm Grand Commander of the Den of Lions and Lionesses in this university, and I value that title very much. Well, we're here for a lecture, and I was very fascinated at the topic of that lecture, which had to do with kind of getting back to zero in terms of oil for our development. And those of us who grew up in this country saw dependence and then independence. We knew that before the oil, whatever it is, came into this country, our three main sources of revenue were in the agricultural sector. The oil palm from the east, the groundnuts from the north, and cocoa from the west. And so these were the main things, the main crops. And now we know what happened. The oil boom came when General Gawan was president of this country and made that statement, which has refused to disappear from my brain. And that is, money is no longer the problem. The problem is the capacity to spend the money. That was what Nigeria was transformed into. We are no longer looking for money. What we're asking God to give us the capacity to spend that money. And we knew where it all led to this country, and where we moved from excessive money to lack of money. But for me, it changed during the Biafran War. And when I mention Biafra, I do not want to get confused with the persons who are getting international reputation by answering IPOB or MASOB or whatever it is. I saw through the Biafran War. In fact, I went into the war determined to write a novel, a historical novel, which I did, Sunset at Dawn. And, but we saw Biafra. And when I talk about Biafra today, I'm not talking about political Biafra, because no amount of United Nations votes will bring back political Biafra. With Bayelsa, with River State, with Cross River State, and others there. That's absolutely impossible, no matter how much you wish or how much you make a noise about it. But there's something which I believe remains and ought to remain, and that is what I call Biafranism. Biafranism is that the Civil War taught us Biafrans that we had brains. Before then, we did not know we had brains. The British told us one thing, we believed it. It was a big event, something, a new invention. Our people will say, ha, Ndiocha. And when you tell them that Ndiocha, we've studied with them in their universities, they don't have superior brain to us, they don't believe it. Something great, Ndiocha. But Biafra taught us that we had a brain. Before Biafra, we did not know. The Western world told us that crude oil refining was beyond us. We did not have the funds for it. We did not have the mental capacity for it. The war came. Biafra lost Port Harcourt, lost the only refinery around, and had to face the facts. Surrender or do something about petrol. So they sat together, the engineers, scientists, and started looking at the matter over. What is there in crude oil refining? Heat the oil to a certain temperature, you get kerosene. Heat it to a higher temperature, you get diesel. To a higher temperature, you get petrol. That is all. And before long, Biafra began to control crude oil refining. Cooking pots, as they were called, were now all over the place. And this is rather the thing, again, to talk about this kind of Biafranism. At the end of the Civil War, the administrator, Okpa Biasika, set up a committee to submit a plan within 2 weeks on how to reopen the University of Nigeria and Soka. He made me chairman of the committee. We submitted the report. He accepted it and told us, go and implement it. So we found ourselves having to implement the report with 200,000 pounds given to us, and we went to work to reopen the war-battered university. But when we advertised for admissions, everybody knew. Even electric wires were pulled off. Toilet floats were removed to show you the extent of the damage that was done to the university. But when the advertisement came out, we were flooded with applications from all over the country. Persons who wanted to study under those professors who launched rockets, who required crude oil, and so on. So that's really my attraction. And my committee got to Soka, and the brigade major, who was unhappy to hear that we were coming back because they had to vacate the campus. He said, okay, he took us round. He wants to take us round. First place he took us to was the borehole and said it got spoiled during the war. Engineers came from Lagos to repair it. Spent 2 weeks. They couldn't do anything about it. So that borehole is dead. I could see the smile on his face. Come back, because those of us who at Soka in those days, without the borehole, there was nothing you could do. But we were not frightened. Engineer Ezekwe, Guardian Ezekwe, was in my committee. I said, Guardian, the borehole is your assignment. And we'll take us to this place. We didn't ask questions. And Ezekwe told me what he needed. We contacted Danjuma, who was principal staff officer at Enugu. They brought loaders. Some generators were brought out from the bush where they were hidden by research and production. And Guardian went to work. And within 2 weeks, water flowed from the borehole. So these are really the kinds of things I consider we must not lose. I call it Biafranism, the Biafran spirit. And that's why this lecture that is going to be given today, I'm attracted to it, because what it will mean is that we are back to where we must use our brain. And I believe that when we begin to use our brain, electricity will come from the river. Electricity will come from the sunshine. All the things are here for us. It's all for us to use our brain. So I wish the lecturer, I'm glad waiting to hear his lecture. And I will do my best in my own scheme. I'm an old man now. Whatever we can do. We must get back to a situation in which we use our brains for the development of our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. May I invite the Vice Chancellor for his address. Thank you.
His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Ebonyi State and his wife, His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Enugu State, ably represented by Honorable Okonkwo, the Commissioner for Local Government. Please, Permit me to recognize the Deputy Governor of Ebonyi State here present, the chairman of this occasion, who is Eze Professor Chukwuemeka Ike, NNOM, OFR, Eze of Ndikelion and Uguaro. Members of the State Executive Councils here present, both Ebonyi, Enugu State, and other states. My Lord Spiritual, Ndi Igwe, Ndeze, Ojoko, Madeno, my colleagues, the visiting Vice Chancellor, especially the Vice Chancellor of Ebonyi State University, Professor Obu, the wife of the Vice Chancellor, University of Nigeria and Nsukka, principal officers of University of Nigeria and Nsukka, members of the University of Nigeria Governing Council. Please permit me to recognize especially Professor B.I.C. Ijoma, who has been mentioned here, and Chief Ndokeya, whom I call the first set of lions, the first lion president, the first lion secretary general, and also the first lion alumni association president, and also the first alumni secretary general. Members of the fourth estate of the realm, great lions and lionesses, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Governing Council, Senate, management, staff, and students of the University of Nigeria, it is my utmost pleasure to welcome you all to the University of Nigeria and to our 59th Founders Day celebrations. As you know, these events are intended to commemorate the founding of our university in the wake of Nigeria's independence in October 1960. Today's event, the Founders Day lecture, is usually the grand finale of the week-long celebration designed to commemorate our very unique history as university's first indigenous, as the Nigeria's first indigenous university. We have reserved the warmest welcome for our guest lecturer, His Excellency Engineer Chief Dev Nweze Omahi, the Executive Governor of Ebonyi State and the Chairman of Southeast Governors Forum. His Excellency, I'm aware of your very tight schedule and how you had to make enormous sacrifices to be able to fit today's event into that schedule, especially with the closure of the Akanibiam International Airport at Enugu. I have chosen to publicly thank you for so readily obliging our request to be the guest lecturer of today's event. I'm also aware that this is your first official visit to University of Nigeria. As you can tell, you have many admirers at the University of Nigeria, and the good job you are doing at Ebonyi State has not gone unnoticed. I hope, however, that there will be many more of such visits. May I also welcome home the first Nigerian registrar of our university, His Royal Majesty, Eze Professor Chukwuemeka Ike, NNOM, OFR, who is the chairman at today's occasion. As a matter of fact, our Founders Day celebration is intended to celebrate likes of Eze Chukwuemeka Ike, who labored to build the reputation which we have continued to enjoy until this day. His Royal Majesty, sir, the University of Nigeria, her alumni, and indeed the entire nation hold you in reverence, and we owe you a huge debt of gratitude for all you did for this university. While the details of your sacrifice are enshrined in our history books, we bear the gratitude in our hearts. Your presence here today reminds me of my favorite part of our national anthem, the labors of our heroes past shall never be in vain. And today, I am happy to announce that in appreciation of the enormous sacrifices you made at a very difficult time in the history of our university and that of the country, plans are underway to immortalize you at the University of Nigeria by naming one of the special buildings, especially the administrative block of the university, after you. As always, it is also a delight to have in the house such notable personalities and distinguished alumni as Chief Ndokeya, Professor B.I.C.E. Joma, and of course, not forgetting who Sir G.T.G. Toby. These are the people I call the Three Musketeers. Our Founders Day lecture remains the most prestigious and public lectures that take place at the University of Nigeria. It is an ideal platform for discussions on topical issues of national and international relevance. Thus, it is not only about celebrating the past, but also about preparing for the future. This explains why we have invited one of our founding fathers to serve as chairman, and one of our founding fathers to serve as chairman, and an exemplary visionary leader to serve as guest lecturer at the 59th anniversary. The topic
Therefore,
of
in
the
his
lecture,
supervision
Preparing
of
for
the
Tomorrow's
historic
Zero Oil
Umahia Water
Economy in
Project
Ebonyi State,
and the
as chosen by
Ndegoraba
our
flood
guest
control
lecturer, is both
measures
apt
between
and forward-looking.
1988 and
It is a perfect
1990.
topic,
From
one that
1990
should
to
preoccupy the
1993,
minds
he became
the
general
minds
manager and
of
shareholder
any
in
visionary
Norman
leader
Engineering and Construction
in the
Nigeria Limited,
Nigeria
a
of today.
company
In
which he
fact,
co-founded.
there is no better place to have this conversation than the credo of university education in Nigeria. One that was established with the proceeds of palm oil and not crude oil. His Excellency, as we look forward to this lecture, I'm sure that reducing our dependence on crude oil will require a lot of research in policy and in technological innovations. It is my desire that some of the required research in policy and innovations can be done here at the University of Nigeria. Our research centers and laboratories, including the consultancy unit, are ready and willing to collaborate with the government of Ebonyi State on this front. Seeking such collaborations between the town and the gown is central to the plan of my administration to continue to drive the University of Nigeria in the direction set for us by our founding fathers. I am aware that the significant increase in the number of universities in the country has increased the competition for such opportunities. Thanks to my predecessors, our university already enjoys many of such collaborations with government and institutions around the world. These relationships have become more important in this era of globalization, when universities are ranked regularly by different ranking agencies. Thus, in addition to maintaining these relationships, I will seek to establish new ones for purposes of enhancing our productivity, visibility, and reputation across the world. May I end my address by appealing to us all, friends and alumni of the University of Nigeria, to be part of our drive to establish new mutually rewarding relationships with high net worth individuals and organizations. It is common knowledge that our university is yet to fully harvest and harness the enormous resources inherent in the over 50 generations of alumni she has produced so far. As we celebrate our 59th anniversary in readiness for the 60th anniversary, our Diamond Jubilee, the time has come for us all to think more of what we can do for the University of Nigeria, and a lot less of what the university can do for us. Finally, I thank you all for honoring us with your esteemed presence at our anniversary. As always, I assure you of the historical warmth and hospitality of the University of Nigeria, the den of lions and lionesses. It is my wish that you can all stay for the rest of the activities lined up for the week. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. A slight shift in the program. We will take the lecture before the citation, but before then, can we take a minute of goodwill message from the Pro-Chancellor, who is represented by Alhaji Yunusa, a member of the Governing Council.
Well, it looks as if today is a day of representations. Only we are lucky that His Excellency is physically available. We thank you for that. This is University of Nigeria in Nsukka. I'm talking to the speech, please, to the goodwill message. We are the only university in the whole 36 states and Abuja that bears the name of University of Nigeria in Nsukka. To convince you, my very amiable governor, your university is Ebonyi State University. Rivers State has its own university, Port Harcourt, University of Port Harcourt, not Nigeria, no University of Nigeria in Nsukka only. Ibadan is University of Nigeria, Ibadan, UI. Lagos is University of Lagos. So you find that only University of Nigeria in Nsukka takes the whole country at heart. That's why, looking at the composition of the external council members, the chairman, the pro-chancellor of the university is Chief Michael Olorufemi. Everybody will know that this is a Yoruba name. And there's the second person, a lady, is Kinika from South, from Port Harcourt. The third member of this council is Chief Eulu from Southeast. I'm the only person from the northern part of Nigeria that complements the name of University of Nigeria in Nsukka. His Excellency, in order to avoid the omission and the commissions, all protocols duly observed, I stand by with the existing protocol. University of Nigeria, all of you had the history, the war devastation situation, the military mislead, underfunding, all this. We survive. We are the #1 university that has been rated throughout the country as the best university in research. May I remind you of our recent innovation of a car that is electrically controlled? That's the University of Nigeria in Nsukka. Unfortunately for me, I am not from University of Nigeria in Nsukka, but I am from another university that rated first generation university, Ahmadu Bello University. However, I feel very much belong to this university. Your Excellency, sir, the governing council had on its own felt that we need to carry this university around to maintain the name, the leading university. That's why in our attempt to generate internally regenerated revenue, we visited all the sources that will enhance internally generated revenue. all the Lion Waters, the bakery company, the printing press, we visited them and we assess. We give them particular amount to return to the university as internally generated revenue. In our attempt as governing council members, we had initiated an establishment of research and the diagnostic center at Ituko Ozala. The only university, the college that will be producing, will be working together with the medical center at Ituko Ozala to be doing that. In our attempt, Your Excellency, we carry everybody, both the internal and the external members along, so that we work in a very good, cordial relationship to enhance the betterment of University of Nigeria in Nsukka. Your Excellency and my very good colleagues and the students, the alumni, I have been directed to call you by the chairman, the governing council, Pro-Chancellor, Chief Michael Olorofomi. The alumni are another sources of funding this university. So when you graduate, if you are yet to be graduated, please remember this university to be coming to join the Alumni Association so that the university will continue to succeed to be the leading university in the whole country. My governor, the lecture you are going to present, it looks unifodal rather, that is only looking at Ebonyi State to survive after the extinction of oil. We call it extinction, of course. How about the other country? We know you are at the first stage in terms of rice production in the whole country, followed by my state, Jigawa State, and the Kebbi State. So please, it's not only on Ebonyi, when there is no oil, we will continue to survive. In our attempt as governing council members, we are introducing an entrepreneurship programs in this university so that our graduates, when they finish with their degree and PhDs and masters, they will be able to have another skills that will earn them a living. So, the BC. It was a very Herculean task before we emerged, we accepted him to be the BC. 75 professors applied for the post of only one BC. 75. We have drafted a templates. We screened them to 15. And eventually, we exposed them to a very rigorous training. And luckily for him, he emerged with only 1 point to be the BC. Whether it is half or 1, at least he is now the BC. Very amiable, very transparent, very good, fearing person. We thank God that we had not mistaken in appointing you to be the BC. For my very good colleagues that applied, but unfortunately God has not destined them to be the BC, please take heart. It is from God. Don't worry, it is God. My friend is looking for me. I am now using this forum to appeal to them, to let us collaborate together and make the university to maintain its research statute and don't run away. Don't go to South Africa. Don't go to America when you find that the salary is it's not much to take home. So my governor, your amiable wife, the registrar, past registrar, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have done it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. The moment we've been waiting for is here. The moment we have all so patiently been waiting for is finally here. And it is my pleasure, as well as my privilege, to invite the 59th Founders Day lecturer in the person of His Excellency, Engineer Chief Dave Mweze Umahi.
Thank you very much. You may be seated, please. Thank you. The protocol is very long. And in occasion like this, you seek a safe landing. So let me work with the protocol that the FVC established by saying, Your Excellencies,
Primary School in Uburu from 1971 to 1977, where he bagged his first living certificate with distinction. Engineer Umahi.
The Vice Chancellor, our dear Professor Rinze Chuku Igwe, and your dear wife. And let me say I'm very much honored to have been invited to give this Founders Day lecture at this prestigious university. The lecture is coming a week after Nigeria celebrated her 59th anniversary of her independence. It is noteworthy that although the University of Nigeria was established in 1955, it was formally launched on 7th of October 1960. And so yesterday was your birthday, exactly a week after Nigerian independence from Britain. As the University of Ibadan was originally set up as a college of the University of London, the University of Nigeria and Nsukka is the first fully fledged indigenous university in Nigeria. And first fully autonomous one. This university represents the hopes, aspirations, industry, unity of purpose, and academic excellence of Nigeria as a country. It is no accident that it is the only federal university with Nigeria in its name. It is therefore entirely appropriate that a discussion of Nigeria's future post-oil economy should be happening at this citadel of learning. Today we are talking about oil, whether it be crude oil or palm oil. But let's start with the crude oil. This crude oil was first discovered in Oloribri in today's Ebonyi State in June 1956. And subsequently, it was also found in another place that is called Afam in Rivers State. And the joy of the world of discovering oil globally in many of the nations of the world, it was the American geologist Mr. Ken Hobart who had a prediction that America would peak in its oil exploration from 1966 to 1972, and that after then, that there would be a permanent decline. He was right, because U.S. oil production peaked in 1970 and has been in decline since. In his book, The End of Oil, On the Edge of a Perilous New World, the American journalist and author Paul Roberts estimates that since 1995, the world has used at least 24 billion barrels of oil annually, but has only discovered 9.6 billion barrels annually as new oil. And the world has a consumption of 93 million barrels of oil a day. Therefore, the world is using more oil than it is finding. And it is estimated that between 20 and 50 years, that oil will almost become history. A permanent question would be, if we can still rely on oil for the next 20 to 50 years, why are we worrying about it now? Why am I worrying about preparing for a studio oil economy of Ebonyi State when I have only less than 4 years in office? That reminds me what we were told when we were small, that the product of Festac was that we had so much surplus, and we as a nation never knew what to do with oil money. And so we had to celebrate, organize a very large cultural festival we call Festac, and then that was the source of spending the excess funds. Which means that a nation that is not planning for tomorrow is planning to fail. And when I move outside this country and I go to China, I go to other parts of the world, I look at the airports, I look at the infrastructure, and I ask myself, what do we as leaders see when we travel to such places? It is very important. Let me delve a little at the historical background of UNN. I would like to first of all convey my gratitude to the Vice Chancellor and the management of University of Nigeria for considering me fit and proper to be the guest speaker. I learned it went through a very rigorous debate. And at the time the debate was going on, I was also trying not to accept even if I won. But you know, when you have a boss and a wife, and you have some people surrounding you, you could no longer do everything you want to do. So that's why I'm here. The first fear was stage fright. How do you come and deliver a lecture to the lecturer of the lecture? How do you stand before professors, emeritus, many of them, those whose job is just to talk on a daily basis, and whose job is to make trouble? You know, when we say that there are some elements of what I won't say in the free university community, I have to be careful so that I can live here. But this is a very serious community that you have to be very careful of. The way we analyze your is and was. And so you can see why I was afraid at the initial time, until they quarantined me and taught me how to stand before you in courage. From 1995, when the bill on the establishment of the university was passed, to 1960, when the university was created, there were great Nigerians whose efforts contributed in making the creation of the first indigenous university a reality. This event no doubt offers opportunity for every member of this university community, all lions and lionesses, and indeed all well-meaning Nigerians, to reflect on the efforts of the founders of this university. My tribute first goes to the then Eastern Nigeria government, who set up a provisional council in April 1959, made up of our dear His Excellency Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe as chairman, a distinguished Nigerian lawyer, Dr. T. Olawale Elias as member, Dr. Okechukwu Ikejiani, and a host of others. The beauty of this university is that what the student learned when it was in the hands of our colonial masters was determined for them from abroad, with little or no relevance to the needs of the students and the nation. The degrees awarded by the University College Ibadan were the degrees of the University of London, with which it was in special relationship. This consideration made the establishment of the UNN Founders Day celebration, an important event not only for the people of Southeast, but also for the entire Nigerian nation. And let me say here that while commending the founding fathers for making this university entirely indigenous, it is important that we as a nation begin to also think about our own indigenous technology. This is a fact. I was listening to a social media when the Chinese little kids were gathered and they were teaching them Igbo language. And in retaliation, I've set up a program in Ebonyi State to also teach our small ones Chinese language. It is therefore also defined to mention the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, was uniquely patterned after the land-grant University of America and was designed to be international in scope and cosmopolitan in outlook. And we pay tributes to Alexandra, who in 1960, representing the Queen of England, Elizabeth II, laid the foundation stone, and I think this hall is named after him. But of course, the courses of study were to be related to the day-to-day life of Nigerians and focus on socio-economic needs of the nation. And this university has achieved quite a lot. I won't go into all the achievements of the university, but you can see they have 3 campuses in Nsukka, Enugu, and Itukozala, College of Medicine. They have 19 faculties and 1 College of Medicine, 3 institutes, 25 centers, and 8 institutes. A population of students of 40,000, and then annual graduation of about 8,000. This is wonderful. And this university has also produced very great lions and lionesses. But let me start with my very good friend, my host governor, my leader, my friend, my brother. His Excellency, the governor of Enugu State, is a product of this great institution. My first executive governor in Ebonyi State, former minister, is senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the leader of our state, Dr. Sam Ominye, who is also a product of this university. You also have my good friend and the stabilizer of our economy, His Excellency, the Governor of Central Bank, Godwin Emefiele, is also a product of here. His Excellency, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, is also a product of here, former Governor of Central Bank. It then appears that if you want to be a governor, you have to be either a lion or a lioness. So today the university stands tall as one of the, I'm almost tempted to say I'm also a lion, but it didn't happen. You know, so this one had to elude UNN. But of Enugu campus of ASUTEC, I'm a product of that. Today, the university stands tall as one of the world's best contemporary academic institutions for all scholars, both in character of its products and then the quality of learning. For this, I say kudos to the Vice Chancellor who have reigned in this university. That's former Vice Chancellors, but my tribute, highly go to Professor Charles Arins Chukwuigwe, the man I call visionary Vice Chancellor of this great university. And I had said in a small tete-a-tete that we should, as a nation, encourage those who have taken from the university to come back and give to university. Nobody can be more Catholic than Pope. He understands the problems of the university, so he's best suited to solving the problems of the university. And that's why you can see clear difference from the point he took off the mantle of the leadership of this institution. Why the topic, preparing Ebonyi State for tomorrow's zero-A plan? Let me first commend Mr. President our dear President Buhari, and I will give you a quote. He made a remark and said, Nigeria must survive in a world in which we say no more oil. He said, for over 50 years, the economy of Nigeria has depended mainly on single export product, crude oil, as its main source of national and government income. Crude oil has essentially funded almost everything in Nigeria, from the goods we import, the infrastructure we build, to our public sector wages. It has also provided the primary underlying support for our currency. While the operation with oil may have worked in the past, Nigeria needs a very different economic paradigm for its future. This is a great inspiration from our president to each and every one of us, and especially our leaders. And this was his lecture on the program for the federal government organized in 2017, which they tagged the Zero Oil Plan. And I'm happy to say that we are almost there in agriculture, because before the administration came on board, we were importing a lot of rice. There was virtually nothing we did not import, including toothpick, including toilet tissue. The other day I saw custom confiscating bottled water being imported into Nigeria. And this is very worrisome. So I give him kudos for our self-sufficiency to the level of 95% in agriculture, that we can't feed ourselves as a nation. Why did I choose this topic at this 59 UNN Founders Day celebration? When I was invited to make a speech at this event, I wondered about the most suitable topic that would suit the economic mood of the nation. So the rep of the Pro-Chancellor, I'm going to talk about the nation first, and then talk about the Ebonyi State. I wanted a topic that would provoke the thought of the eminent scholars in this great citadel of learning, and task them on the philosophy of the university, which is to seek truth, teach truth, and preserve truth. And the mission statement, which is to place the University of Nigeria at the forefront of research and development, innovation, knowledge transfer, and human resources development in the global academic terrain, while promoting the core values which will ensure the restoration of the dignity of man. I wanted a topic that would connect with the speech made by Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe of the blessed memory to the first graduates of the University of Nigeria on the alma mater night, where he said, the concept of the University of Nigeria had its origin in the report of the International Bank Mission and the economic development of Nigeria, unquote. The essence of choosing this topic, therefore, is to wake up all stakeholders to the reality that oil will one day fail us. And we, therefore, need to begin now to diversify and plan for the future of our people. Let me also quote Professor Chukwuma Soludo in his speech delivered on the platform on the redesigning the Nigeria economy with the new ideas on October 1st, 2019, where he said, and I quote, oil will be history in less than 20 years' time, but the pressures of peculiar demographics and demography are upon us. This is the more reason why this topic is apt. And let me thank the Pro-Chancellor Rep. I've learned something. He said that every segment of the university is tasked to bring certain amount of IGR. And I'm happy my Vice-Chancellor is here with his professors, which means that to the glory of God, my subvention to the university will start reducing by November. Because I immediately scribbled what agriculture, Professor Libe is here, what you are going to bring to the IGR, and you have to. So countries like China, US, and the European countries are now focusing on the future and the urgency of the complicating realities of oil economy in the midst of daunting climate change and technological innovation. Nations of the world like USA, even though USA refused to sign the treaty on climate change, China, India, Japan, of course, Nigeria, are already preparing on saving the environment from pollution due to oil. Only yesterday I saw demonstration and protest in Britain where they were carrying placards and the topic was Save Our Environment. That is the effect of climatic change. All these technological innovations will surely crash the value of oil in the near future. There are probably 3 reasons why Nigeria needs to genuinely pursue zero oil economy or diversification of our economy. First is to insulate the economy from the risk of being vulnerable to a single commodity, as the different oil prices crashes have shown. Second is to create jobs that can raise the living standard of an average Nigerian. Oil and gas jobs account for less than 1% of the total employment, and the young population can no longer be absorbed by the public sector. Agriculture in 1958-59 played very significant role in our national income earning, to the extent that even when oil was discovered, the total contribution of oil to the national income earning in 1959 was 0.08%. 0.08%. And so why the increase in dependence of oil continued to increase from 0.08% to 95% as of today, the decrease in the also dependence on other products like agriculture was also going even faster than the descent, which means that why that of the increase on dependence of oil is moving in geometrical progression, our reliance on agriculture was also decreasing in arithmetical progression. I can say that our economy before the discovery of oil was very robust. From the palm oil from southeast, south-south, to the cocoa at the southwest, to maize, millet, groundnut at the northern part of Nigeria. At the time of our independence, agriculture represented 64.1% of Nigeria's gross domestic product, GDP, while crude oil only contributed only 0.3%. It was the tension between the Arabs and Israelis in 1973, where you hear about the 90 minutes at Entebbe, a war between Arab and Israel that increased astronomically the oil price to over 70% overnight. Data from Central Bank of Nigeria shows that between 1971 and 2016, Nigeria earned more from oil than non-oil sources. This 45-year dominance of oil started to wane in 2016, but this was not necessary as a result of increase in efforts in non-oil sector. In 2016, global oil prices crashed. Along with it was the value of the naira. Figures from National Bureau of Statistics and CIA fact book show that by the time of the recession in 2016, the contribution of agriculture to GDP has fallen from 64.1% in 1960 to 21.2%. Although oil only contributed 10.4% to GDP in 2018, it represented 47% of government revenue and more than 85% of its export earning. We so depended on oil, and without oil making our people rich, to the extent that in 1987, the World Bank declared Nigeria as a very low-income nation, and even went ahead to propose that we should get aid like it was happening in Bangladesh, in Ethiopia, in Chad, and Mali. So much a pity. This over-concentration on a single commodity creates deep fault lines within the economy. As global oil prices crash travel through all facets of the Nigerian economy, Nigeria's oil resources should be used as a down payment to build a robust, diversified, export-based export baskets of other products to create jobs, earn foreign exchange, attract investment. Essentially, Nigeria must use oil to move beyond oil. Our large population of 180 people means we do not have enough oil. And if you look at the graph over there, you will see that our oil dependence on our national income peaked in 2014. Then I was a deputy governor. It was a boom. And ever since then, we have been having a decline. And this decline is steady till today. And it shows a warning signal for the people of this nation. And why our earning from oil is going down, our earning in other sources of income for the nation going down, our population is moving in geometrical form, and the number of out-of-school children without job is also progressing very highly. And of course, the youths that are out of jobs are over 70%. So this has created a very serious source of worry. And there have been an argument that with the oil reserve of Nigeria, and should we produce all the oil one day and sell all the oil at $70 per barrel and distribute it to over 180 million Nigerians, everyone is entitled to $15,000, which means that our net earning per every Nigerian is $15,000 based on the total oil reserve of Nigeria. And so this paints a very dangerous picture. And this is my analysis when people come to say the governor is trying, but he's not sharing money. I say, well, the point remains that if we get 3 billion to 3.5 billion every month, and we have 4 million Ebonyans, and if we share this and say no salary to anybody, no security, no health, nothing else, so everybody will be entitled to about 1,000 naira every month. And so, if the people had wished this, but thank God, my people soon said no sharing of money, that we have to look after our unborn population. When I was in China, I saw tall buildings. Many tall buildings, no occupation. And I asked, why this massive development? And they told us, we are building for our children that will be born in the next 100 years. What a nation. What a way to plan. One time I set up a committee in Ebonyi State to look at our Niger Sem. Thank God Ibeto is doing wonders. And very soon, the history of Niger Sem will be back to the good old memories. And we have 75 people as members. And somebody says, so high, how can you have 75 people as members of the committee? And one person raised his hand and told me that one time a committee was set in China, and members of the committee were 150 people. I said, let's fire up. The world-based economics do not solely depend on oil. 20 of them. And if we take a look at America, the GDP growth of America is not dependent on oil. It's dependent on their administration, their international trade. And of course, we've been seeing the war that is being waged between Trump and China on balance of trade. And I'm happy to announce that while we were in South Africa with Mr. President on 2nd to 4th of this month, Mr. President wisely told the people of South Africa, Mr. President, that we should also look at our trade imbalance. Mr. President noted that the businesses of Nigerians in South Africa were just the medium and small scale businesses, whereas the businesses of South Africa in Nigeria were of very, macro level. The banking, the ICT, and the trades, so on and so forth. And then we secured a victory that they were going to open a space for our aviation industry, open their banking for our banking people, and then also take some of our agricultural products. And for me, it was a very wonderful outing. And of course, it's good to note, and for our people to also appreciate, that Mr. President showed so much anger, but showed so much wisdom and maturity in handling the problem of South Africa. And in that meeting, Mr. President of South Africa showed so much remorse. And together they signed 32 treaties that we basically protect our people, and we also curate the balance of trade. And the Nigerian people, we met them, and they were very excited at the intervention of Mr. President. And I can announce that through the ingenuity and wisdom and patience of Mr. President, and with God's grace, that our people are now safe in South Africa. So if we look at the three biggest economies in the world, US, China, Japan. Japan had no oil at all. China had just discovered oil. But you can see virtually China is into everything. If you look at China and Nigeria, you see that the trade imbalance is so worrisome. But I thank the Ministry of Trade and Investment, because they are working very hard in looking at some other sectors that we assist us not to balance the trade imbalance, but at least to move up small. The zero oil vision. The key question to ask on our envisaged zero oil economy will be, what would Nigeria do if there is no crude oil to sell? What else other than oil can Nigeria say to the rest of the world to earn significant foreign exchange and generate income for federal and state governments? How do you ensure that this new exported goods create enough jobs and private wealth, as well as improve the quality of living across Nigeria? How quickly can we prepare economy for a time of zero oil regime? These questions are essential to frame the journey of restructuring the Nigerian economy to ensure we earn the majority of foreign exchange from non-oil sectors, as against mostly crude oil today. A look at the top global exporters revealed that only 3 out of the top 20 exporters in the world generate majority of their export revenues from crude oil. But let me also pause to say that even when we talk about so much earnings in our crude oil, we have to also talk about so much expenditure in our importation of our petroleum products. I cannot authenticate the figures, but there was a time we saw in the social media, Nigeria exported 54 billion worth of crude oil and imported 52 or 53 billion worth of petroleum products. And so when you look at this, you find out that we are not even earning from oil. And they may have accounted to the reason why poverty level is on the increase. But I must thank the federal government on the N-Power program. If properly harnessed, it's another sure source of curating other sources of revenue. Because we used to say that if you want to build a nation, you should build the women. But I also add that if you want to build a nation, you have to also build the youth. Very important. The climate change effect is also another problem that is leading us fast out of the oil regime. I had the opportunity of presenting at the 94th section of the United Nations General Assembly one of the private sections, and I spoke briefly on climate change. Nigeria has been very actively involved in global climate change discussion from the beginning, from being a party to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change in 1994, and ultimately its ramification in Kyoto Protocol in 2004. Though we have been involved in climate change discussion, we are also making efforts in also keying to the major factors that are the templates on how to respond to the effects of climate change. Only 2 months ago, the Vice President came to His Excellency Alex Ekwueme University in Ikwo and commissioned 2.8 megawatts of solar energy. And today that university is running 24 hours. And so they are no longer buying diesel. This is very important. In that discussion, I noted in my speech that in the southeast, soil, gully erosion, and landslides, are responsible, of course, floods for the widespread destruction of human, animal, plant life, domestic, industrial, and commercial degradation of arable lands, contamination of surface and groundwater supplies, isolation of settlements, and migration of communities. And most of the time when we have floods, mothers and children are cut off from medical facilities. And such is that our climate change effect is that the depletion of the ozone layers. And so we have excess heat, and you can't determine the rain pattern again. And of course, the acid rain. All these things contribute to a very unsafe world and a very highly polluted world. If you have been in some of the Western countries and you go through the expressways, you wonder why they have so massive trees by the sides of their roads. And the wisdom is that there is so much emission from burning of petroleum products, be it PMOS or diesel or even higher grade of petroleum products. And so there is very high rate of emission of carbon dioxide. And that is what is also responsible for the climate change. But they plant these trees because the food of the trees is carbon dioxide. So these trees help to absorb the carbon dioxide and then also compensate us with oxygen. And this is very important. And so the 74th section of UN Assembly adopted a committed approach of moving away from oils to solar sector, wind, hydro. And in doing this, oil-dependent projects and programs are fast moving down. In our state, we run about 74 generators to lit up our capital city and most of our local government headquarters. And imagine the amount of diesel we are burning. But of late, we went into green energy by providing about 15 numbers of solar KVA generators. And we are replacing some of our generators, diesel-based, with this solar light. And we're also providing constant energy through solar energy in most of our general hospital. Today we are talking with investors on how to build 10 megawatts of solar-based energy source to power the new College of Medicine that we have just embarked upon. So this is very important. As a warning, in 2050, the European Union has set a target whereby over 80% of their machineries must not be on diesel. And if you go now, you see hybrid. There are two sets of, oil-dependent reduction in the automobile. There is the one that is using partly electric, and you use diesel or fuel to start it. The moment you start the car, it starts running on electric. There are some that are totally electric. And only 2 weeks back, I engaged a Chinese company on how to come and let us begin to discuss about moving forward by starting with assemblage of electric motors, keke napep, that are based on electric energy source. And this is very important. And so there are great opportunities for non-oil sector to grow. And this growth has been visible since 2001, Of course, the changes cannot be that quick and the transformation cannot happen overnight. The country can develop different sectors by taking the import duties, important steps from the government's side. Nigeria needs to create access for small businesses. It's very tough to be a lecturer. If not that the governor's word is law, I would have joked to say I will increase the salaries of EBSU lecturers. And so we need to create credit access to small businesses. And I must commend Mr. President and the CBN governor for this. They have curated a number of small businesses through the Anchor Borrower Scheme, and this is helping. And also livestock transformation plan, which the CBN has funds for both states and private sector-driven, economy. This is very important. But one aspect that we didn't really have opportunity to contribute is the recent policy of CBN. If you deposit excess of 500,000, you will pay. If you withdraw, you pay. Well, I'm not criticizing that because I don't have enough technicalities, economics-wise, too. But I was thinking that our economy is based on the low-income class. People that are selling petroleum products, for example, people that are selling rice in the market, people that are selling crayfish, and so on and so forth. So when they carry this money and they go and deposit it, and you say you will charge them interest, that is a problem. One way, it will increase the cost of the agricultural product. This is very important. And I was told that there were people that were digging ground to bury their money. And I'm sure that it will be on the increase. So we have to curate the middle class. We have to recreate it. This is where this kind of policy is going to work. Where check and cashless policy will be of very high effect. So I'm thinking that my friend, the governor of CBN, may have to have a second look at this so that the little downtrodden business people will not suffer. And of course, to offer opportunity for medium-scale business, and of course, I've told you that if you have a macro business proposal, that South Africa is ready to balance our trade. And of course, modernization in agriculture, which is also what we are doing, development of textiles, development of solid mineral. And I'm happy to announce that we have signed an agreement with the federal government on the development of salt deposit massively in Ebonyi State. We have salt in over 5 local government areas. And of course, you know Ebonyi State is salt of the nation. And you must know that it was the Ebonyi salt that sustained the Biafra during the war. We are ready to do it again. And of course, our security must also be guaranteed. And I'm happy that the clashes between farmers and herders, they're coming, down very drastically. And I'm happy with the establishment of forest guards in Southeast. Buruburu first started, we copied. And so this is very important so that farmers, as another source of diversifying our economy, we have freedom to go to their farms. And so through the security measures, and of course we commend the IG very highly. I've always said to the IG, you're a stubborn IG, and this is why you're succeeding. Because in all honesty, Nigerians need men of great character and men that will be firm to change our narratives. Because of time, there is no gainsaying about the gains of a restructured economy of Nigeria against zero oil. But it is crystal clear that a restructured Nigeria based on a zero oil economy will consequently transform into a nation with a different constitution in which the exclusive list and concurrent list will look dramatically different from what it looks like today. The primary burden of governance development, and the general welfare of the citizen will rest squarely on the component states. You know, I believe so much in restructuring, but you see, every region has its own definition of restructuring. But I have my own definition of restructuring, because I will talk about restructuring based on my state, the status economically of my state. And if we talk about restructuring, I say what I support is two sets of restructuring in this country. The first one is administrative restructuring, where you talk about state police, you talk about devolution of power, you talk about certain other things that are in an exclusive list that the states should look into. And so all the states of the nation will be given time to talk about economic restructuring. We now have to key into how will states develop along the line of state comparative advantage. And it is only when that is done that we can say, okay, you control your mineral resources and pay tax. If we do otherwise, you will in one Nigeria produce states that are super rich, and produce states that are super poor. And what do we have? While you are breeding wealth in the other state, you'll be breeding criminality in the other state, because water tends to find its level. And so being one nation, the wealth must spread, whether it will be through kidnapping or armed robbery or 419 and so on and so forth. So to mitigate this, I support restructuring that will be based on two legs. One is the first, administrative restructuring. Second is to give time for all the states, time and warning, so that we pay advantage, serious attention to areas of your advantage. Because every state has got something to offer to the nation. Because we did it before, and we can do it again. This is very important. And so, let me now come to my state, Ebonyi State, and the history of Ebonyi State. I quote our dear father, His Highness Dr. Agomeze. When one day he spoke, he said, they said Abacha did some bad things, but Abacha also did some good things. And one of the good things he did is the freedom he handed over to the people of Ebonyi State by the creation of Ebonyi State. And so 23 years ago, there was no Ebonyi State. The struggle for liberation and self-actualization began in 1957 and culminated 39 years later in the creation of one of the two youngest states in the Federation, October 1st, 1996. That's Ebonyi and Bayelsa. I don't know which one is senior, but I think we are senior. And so you can imagine the slavery we passed through. You can imagine the neglect. You can imagine the dust of the nation we suffered. And when we started the struggle, it was a very difficult task. And one of the key things they told us was that we were not economically viable to be a state. But our founding fathers said something that is very touching, and it's something that is the pivot of whatever thing we do, to ensure that the dreams of our founding fathers shall come to bear. And they said, and I quote, yes, they say we are economically unviable, but our position is that whatever thing we generate internally and whatever thing that they give us at the center, we as a people, that we be smarting from the euphoria of intimidation and neglect, be able to manage whatever thing we have, so that it will be enough for us to forge ahead and maintain our freedom and liberation. And I know that they used to say, oh, Ebonyi State has a total land mass of 5,538 square kilometers, with majority of it being arable land that supports the growth of rice and tuber crops. It is a homogeneous community with a population of about 3 million people. The economy of Ebonyi State is predominantly driven by the middle class to the level of about 20%, but majorly by the low class and of course our mothers that constitute over 60% of our economic, input. 2 military administrators and 3 civilian governors have thus governed Ebonyi State, namely Navy Copter Water, I.A. Fairable from Bayelsa State, is retired now, who was the pioneer military administrator of Ebonyi State from 1996 to 1998, set up the takeoff of administrative structure of the young state. He also opened up the rules in the state capital. Each time I see a very beautiful welcome organized and the joy of our people, how happiness, was radiating from their faces on receiving variable the day he went to get our paper of freedom for the curation of Ebonyi State. It creates hope, it creates encouragement, and it creates insistence. Yes, that the labors of our founding fathers of Ebonyi State shall not be in vain. And today, we are forging ahead. And the second was Police Commissioner Odoye, was the second last military administrator. He continued with what Fegabo did and midwife the democratization process in 1999. We just appreciated all the people who made our Ebonyi State tick by its existence. And so we also recognized this former administrator Odoye. We have sent messages to the wife, messages of appreciation. And then the first executive governor of the state, Dr. Sam Ominye, the journey of development began when he took over as the first elected governor of the state in 1999. And Sam lasted between 1999 and 2007, 8 years. It has been the tradition of Ebonyi State that you must do 8 years. And that's why when the enemies were trying to truncate our 8 years, we say, Father, first did 8 years, second did 8 years. The third must do 8 years. And so some of the achievements of Dr. Sam was free education, fight against Guinea-worm, opening of roads, agricultural development, empowerment. Before he came to be as the governor of the state, I'm not sure we had up to 4 brand new vehicles in the state. But during his regime, there was massive empowerment through purchase of vehicles, people built houses, and confidence began to return. Confidence began to return. And so on May 29, say that the rich man talks roughly, but the poor man makes entreaties. I think we were making entreaties until when we began to see the light of the day. We began to eat very good food. You may not know that until just about 20 years back, this me never ate rice until every December. Never. And that we were given uniform, Christmas uniform, which means you change your wardrobe only once every year. And that even while going to school, as soon as you come back from school by 4 o'clock, they will ask you to go and look after the rice because of birds. When it is Saturday or Sunday, the days we don't want to come, by 6 o'clock you must wake up. And the kind of grasses that will overshadow the pathway will be such that you'll be going. If somebody is coming, you won't see him. And so it's only God that preserved our lives. And that's why some of us would have been much taller. But the sufferings then could not allow us. So that's so. So on 29th May 2007, the baton of power was transferred to Chief Martin Wancho Elechi. He embarked on projects and programs, including eradication of guinea worm, which Dr. Sam started, dualization of roads of capital city, water projects, attitudinal change, and agriculture, and of course acquisition of Centenary City, which is serving as the pivot of our new Ebonyi State. And of course, during his second tenure, I was elected alongside with him as his deputy. And from the foregoing, it is clear that as at 29 May 2015, when we came on board as the third democratically elected government, the state was nowhere near the level of development envisaged by our founding fathers. The coincidence of the most inclement economic recession in the history of our young state with my first tenure inauguration further compounded issues and made pundits believe that If all we could achieve at that time would be the payment of workers' salaries, we would indeed still be celebrated by posterity. There was a realistic assessment of economic crisis that made the hope of payment of workers' salary a mirage and reduced the promise of even a single capital project to a mere wishful thinking. But we didn't lose hope. We never did. Upon inauguration on May 29, we were conscious of the meager federal allocation that accrues to the state and the total neglect and underdevelopment suffered by the state. We developed strategic plans for the economic growth and development of Ebonyi State along the five-fold covenant that God gave to me, and they are. God spoke to me in the land of Dubai, where I was coming from medical checkup to take over the realm of leadership. And God says that we must serve Ebonyi State with the fear of God, that we must prosper Ebonyi State with the word of God, that we must make Ebonyi State the #1 economy in the country, that we must passionately help the widows and the oppressed, that we must build a befitting place of worship like Solomon did, so that any Ebonyian that is faced with any difficulty anywhere in the world and turns to the direction of the temple and calls upon the name of the Lord, God will answer the prayer. Our administration, from the one is working on the premise that one day oil will go or loses value in the market. We are working on the stark reality that one day federal allocation will diminish or was still extinguished and the world would have moved forward without oil. Ebonyi State does not have our oil reserve yet developed. Of course, we have oil, but there is politics of oil development. We do not want to go into that. And we don't also enjoy 13% derivation. In planning for our tomorrow based on conviction that one day oil will become history, we focus on the following programs: solid infrastructure, agriculture, solid mineral, human capital development, tourism, water production, entrepreneurship, vocational development, education, health, industrialization, security, as critical sectors that will drive our initiative on zero oil economy. Zero oil economy contemplates an economy without oil. It is a process of shifting an economy away from oil source to other multiple sources from a growing range of sectors and markets. We made very poor infrastructure without the blames to the past leaders who did their best. But the level of neglect, the level of underdevelopment, from our journey from Imo State to Abia State, from Anambra State to Enugu State, was so massive that it must take time for us to overcome that. But I'm sure that we did overcome. When they put up poverty index and they say we are highest in Southeast, I'm sure they're measuring maybe 1980, because we are not. Statistics has shown that oil economy is not the greatest precursor of job creation, food security, and general economic growth. Instead, it breeds low standard of living, it widens the gap between the poor and the rich, and brings about economic imbalance and encourages unemployment. With a nation of over 180 million people, the only way out is economic diversification or zero oil initiative by government. And I'm happy the federal government has launched its zero oil plan economy. And of course, I also learned a lot upon which I speak from that plan and program that we all collectively launched. There is pressure on federal allocation. There is alternative energy source like solar and wind energy that may crash the price of oil. Thank you. According to the Manxley Global Institute, China spent 8.5% of its GDP on infrastructure between 1992 and 2011. When they ask somebody what makes China tick, the Chinese say it's because of road infrastructure. What do we go to see in Dubai? We go to see lights, flyovers, roads. So road infrastructure is very key in the economic development of any nation. Enabling environment in our consideration includes infrastructure, as we mentioned there. And this is why we have modest achievement as follows. In infrastructure, we've constructed not less than 25 kilometers of roads of concrete pavement, and in some cases, bridges in all the 13 local government area of the state. And this 25 is the minimum to enhance inter-community trade and market accessibility. Reconstructed federal roads linking to the metropolis and about 500 kilometers in the capital city and satellite town of the state to enhance safety and movement of goods and services in the state. Constructed internal roads of headquarters of the police command so that they will give us security. The army, we also did an internal road, the National Youth Service Corps, the Civil Defense, the SSS. We did all the internal roads, gave them light, some of them solar-based light. We introduced road construction with concrete pavement of 8 inches, which we did over 300 kilometers so far, and the lifespan is between 50 and 75 years old. The one that was constructed in the famous Niger Seam in the early 1956 is still there and very strong. Built the biggest ecumenical center ever built by any government in Nigeria, with the Mumbo of 10,000 capacity and 2,000 capacity smaller halls, with modern lifts, escalators, offices, and accommodation to boost economic activities, including spiritual revival. Built the longest and most aesthetic twin flyovers in the southeast, with 3 number of such, having a total, each of them, a total of 96 span, built in 3 years, and has commenced another construction of 8 flyovers in strategic junctions and major highways of the 3 senatorial zones to attract investors. Built one of the wonders of this country, which we call President Buhari Light Tunnel, with 29 spans. You know, we sat as a people, and we said, since people don't think that we have evolved, we have to shock them. And so what we said is that Akanwebiam Junction, we have to create confusion. And we sat down and designed what we call President Buhari Light Tunnel Bridge. It's a point that when you get to that bridge, it has octopus legs, and you must miss your way. And as visitors miss their way, we say that one of the dreams of our founding fathers, which is self-confidence, and that we have evolved, been achieved. Build the most amazing and sustainable fountain, for tourist attraction in Southeast, 12 in number and strategic location to promote the entertainment industry in the state. Renovated our stadium with ancillary works and a guest house for accommodation of athletes, and has ambition to construct one of the stadium in Nigeria, one of the best stadium in Nigeria, which is now ongoing. My media team, are we having problem with the? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, that was the Buhari Light Tunnel Bridge. We are constructing the biggest shopping mall that will be the microcosm of the macrocosm of the Dubai Mall to create market and stimulate provision of goods and services. This shopping mall will attract international trade and investment and shall create not less than 3,000 jobs and generate thousands of wealth. We are reconstructing St. Margaret to my international market in the southeast to create opportunities for importers and exporters from Ebonyi State and beyond. The market is located at Trans-Sahara Road. Let me acknowledge that this market was first started by His Excellency, my boss, the immediate past Governor of the state, Chief Martin Elechi. Besides creating smooth roads, the major streets are done with beautiful ornamentals to make the environment inviting. Each of the headquarters of the various local government area of Ebonyi State has 12-hour street light that cannot go off unless in rare cases. This encourages urban rural migration and trade. It is worthy to emphasize that my administration intends to make Ebonyi State a global village, not in terms of ICT, but also in terms of road connectivity between the rural communities and the metropolitan city. In these 4 years of the new tenure, we have started to construct modern twin flyovers of about 29 spans each in 8 major junctions linking the 3 senatorial zones, the new stadium, the airport, and the teaching hospital with ancillary works. That's the new stadium that is in the making. That's the new airport that is in the making. Work has started in all these projects. This airport, which is an international airport, and I thank Mr. President on your behalf for approving immediately the construction, of course financed by state government, construction of international airport in Ebonyi State. And that's the stadium. You know, some people say, why are you constructing an airport? People need to eat. But what people do not know, when I read it how you see, is that we are one of the states with the largest empowerment program, because we know that our people, they need some grants injected into their businesses, their affairs, and that's why we also have free education. And we are creating a lot of palliative measures that we bring our people, if not number one in the country, at par with the most developed states of this nation. We're driven by passion to lift the living standard of our rural people, who constitute the highest number of our population. We are partnering with the federal government and the World Bank under our program to construct not less than 595, kilometers of agricultural roads. That's our, mall. This mall is very complex, and by January, when Mr. President will come to commission it, it will be a wonder. One of the greatest things our administration will be known for will be the construction of the 189-kilometer ring road that will be built on concrete pavement 8 inches. And I thank the federal government, the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The approval of this ring road to be funded by African Development Bank is the fastest ever gotten. And of course, African Development Bank said so. And so I commend Mr. President. And incidentally, out of the 189, we have done 35 kilometers out of this, which means that we are going to be funded by African Development Bank on the basis of 159. And this project will kick off by January next year. All papers are coming together. And this is going to pass through 9 local governments of our 13 local government area. And it's going to create not less than 100,000 of rural farmers and entrepreneurships, programs which will involve agric and solid mineral businesses within the local communities. Of course, an Abomega flyover that is linking us with Cross River is in place. Time will fail me to mention the roads we are building, but we are dualizing essentially our roads that is coming from Abakaliki to Enugu, and that is 48 kilometers of road. And the idea is that we must dualize it to the boundary. We are dualizing our road from Abakaliki to Afikpo, which is 66 kilometers, and work has started in these two sections of the road. We have 15.5 kilometers of Amasin-Okposi-Uburu road, fully completed, 25 kilometers of Agbajangofe road, fully completed, 10 kilometers of Uburu-Okposi road, that's my area, being dualized right now, 35 kilometers Ubiozara-Onisha-Oshiri road, being fully completed, 23 kilometers Amasiri-Okposi road, fully completed, 16 kilometers the famous Nkalagu road, being fully completed, 18.8 kilometers of Funai, no, this time Alex Ekweme, University in Ikwo. It was done on concrete because it has been a very bad terrain and then coated with asphalt. Fully completed. 14.5 kilometers of Abakaliki Afikpo road, fully completed. 30 kilometers of Amasiri Nguzu road, 75% done. 35 kilometers of Ntesi road, 10% done. 25 kilometers above Mega Okawu Gulangu road, 95% done. 15 kilometers Ezra North road, 100% done. 10.5 kilometers Ukwachi road, 80% done. 10 kilometers of Township Epsu road, 100% done. 5.8 kilometers Ikwo Rice Mill, 100% done. 15 kilometers Uburu Ring road, 100% done. 8 kilometers dualization of Abakaliki Amasiri road, 70% done. 7 kilometers of dualization of Piripiri road, 60% done. 10 kilometers of Uburu internal road, 100% done. 15.5 kilometers of Akeze Ishagu road, 100% done. 10 kilometers of Agba Isu road, 100%, 60% done. 30 kilometers of Ezambwe Fium road, 100% done. 300 kilometers of rehabilitated township road, 6 kilometers Onweke Township road. We are constructing presently building material in the north. And the idea is that our people should be able to move. All those that are doing those selling ties, they should move to that location. And we are taking some of them to China so that they will also go to manufacturers. Because the idea is from trading, you have to learn how to also catch fish. This is very important. And that's one of our industrial clusters. We're also making another industrial cluster in the Ishelu local government, and we are targeting the textile industry, the manufacturing industry, and then other, light technological development. And in the south, we have 200 hectares, which work has gone to over 70%. And what we have done, which we're going to do in the rest of the clusters, is to build warehouses, to build workshops, and we just want our people to come and identify which kind of business they want to do. And we have the responsibility with partnership with the Bank of Industry to also train them and then also source for fund. And what we do is that when we jam our money with that of Bank of Industry, then the interest rate on money borrowed by our people will become 5%. And spread over a minimum of 5 years. This is very important. We have created 3 mineral buying centers in the state. And this is to moderate our solid mineral. And let me say that we have 2 processing plants of lead and zinc in the state, because the lead and zinc, of course, we can't price ourselves that we're the highest in the country, but what we get is not of even 50% purity. And so for you to use lead to make, for example, battery, it must enjoy 95% purity. So the 2 processing plants, one fully done in Ikwo, and the other one starting in Uburu, it will not take us to where we want to be, because they can process this lead to even up to 40% purity. So this lead has still been daily exported, to China. And when I say it, why can't we have what we are using to process it, to 95%? They say it's only 4 in the world, and they are all in China. And so our government must do everything possible to see how we can have our lead processing plant to the purity of 95%, and then ban the export of our lead and zinc out of the country. This will create jobs. It will also create battery factories. And as we forge ahead in our electric-based motors and keke napep, this is very important. In the area of agriculture, which is our mainstay of economy, it has the propensity to provide employment and work creation to the majority of both skilled and unskilled labor. And let me say that our state is known for agriculture, and when people scramble for Abakaliki rice, they continue to ask, this Abakaliki rice is so special, but I have not been able to discover why it is so special. In fact, one of our visitors and investors say that you buy Abakaliki rice, leave it for 3 days, boil the foreign rice, leave it for 2 days or 4 days, you will discover that the Abakaliki rice will continue to be where you kept it to be. And so, while we were known to be the dust of the nation, God did the unthinkable and put salt in our land. The Abakaliki rice is salted, and that's why it's different from other rice. And so you can now see and know that you can now cook the rice without salt. And that's why during the war, the moment you get the rice, the salt is already inside it. And that is the gift of God to Ebonyi State. So without boring you on our agricultural program, we have launched 1 man, 1 hectare of land. And the idea is that all our appointed and the elected people must have at least the second address by engaging in 1 hectare of rice. And we are moving very seriously on agriculture. Let me announce that when we came on board, we were able to get our young men and women to engage in governance. And it wasn't as if we had a shortage of manpower in governance, but we did 2 things. One is to expose them to act of governance, and also for them to be a target of our youth unemployed sector so that we could use them to target agriculture. And this worked so well that we had up to 500. And smarting from the success of that, we are now determined that we are going to increase their number in the next 60 days to about 1,200. This is the highest in the country. But we know what we are doing. Every state has its peculiarities, and you must evolve a strategy and means by which you will meet the aspiration and the character of your people. I don't believe in creation of civil service job because we already have enough. And we are making efforts to see how we can lift their standard of living. And that's why we've given over 3 billion naira to our civil servants as very soft loan at the rate of 5%. And the idea is that every Friday, those who engage in this kind of agricultural program are free to go about the agribusiness without coming to offices. This is very important. This is very important. You know, they say that the idle mind is devil's workshop. And the man to be hit hard when civil servants have no other means of exercising their bodies by way of being in productive sector is the governor. They sit down and gossip the governor. And you know what that means. So we are friendly with them, and we are creating wealth for them. And so our target in agriculture is to create men and women who will create agriculture, and agriculture will create jobs and self-sufficiency. In 2016, we profiled 53,000 farmers, and we spent about 3 billion, which is what we got from the federal government as loan. I must again commend Mr. President and the CBN governor for this initiative, because I can beat my chest and say that we came from very crude means of agricultural program to a more evolved, modernized way of agriculture. And our state has been opened up that every day trailers are coming to the state to buy our rice. I think federal government should introduce a derivative on agricultural products, so that while people are getting oil, we have to get from agriculture and solid mineral. We have 3 giant rice mills of 5 tons per hour, rice mills scattered in 3 zones. We also injected another 3 sets of 3 tons per hour rice mill. And it is our hope that before the end of 2020, every local government is going to have a rice mill. And we have, since 2015, empowered the Ebonyans by way of soft loans to engage in agricultural programs and projects to the tune of 12 billion naira. Sometimes we say it's loan, but the important thing is that it's still within the system. Do we get it back? The answer is yes and no. I have to say yes because we are still in the war of recovering it, and no because we have not recovered it. Another mainstay of our economy is on cassava. We introduced vitamin C and A stems of cassava. We have purchased 1 plant that is turning our cassava to starch. We also purchased 3 other cassava plants that will turn it to cassava flour. The installation of these machines are almost 95% done, and we have also raised off-takers, mainly our women, market women, and agri women. And this we are doing to make sure that we encourage our farmers to produce this cassava because we already have the off-takers. And let me announce that we are the state that is supplying fertilizer to Southeast, to South-South, to North Central, and of course, we also produce massively for the federal government. When we came on board, we had only 1 fertilizer plant with 40 tons per hour capacity that was established by Dr. Samuel. But of course, then it was moribund. The first thing we did was to key into Mr. President fertilizer program, and I went to Morocco twice. And the trick that Mr. President did was that he crashed the cost of phosphate through the highness of Morocco. I think it was the personal ground. And so the hitherto fertilizer that was sold at 8,500 to 10,000 and was highly available and of course highly adulterated was crashed to between 5,000 and 5,500. And so it was a boom. And so what we did was to quickly refurbish the first fertilizer, and then seeing that the market was going and the demand was more than supply, we immediately injected another brand new 40 tons per hour fertilizer plant. I'm shocked that we are not seeing our projects. Are there some sabotage behind? Okay, say it's running, but we should see it here too. And so this is very important. And with the additional borrower scheme of the CBN and CACs and various programs of Mr. President and of course Empower, you will agree with me that we wisely keyed into this agricultural program. And today, we are among the first 5 leading states in agriculture. In the area of environment, we have quickly purchased pulverization plant, which is a mechanism of plant that we aggregate our agricultural byproducts or waste, as you may call it, and household waste, and then turn it into organic fertilizer. And we've engaged one of your professors here to also generate with another byproduct of this mechanization and energy that will power the plant. This is very important. And if you come to our city, you'll find out that cleanliness is next to godliness, and our capital city is next to none in terms of cleanliness. This is very important. On the area of security, we have introduced Smart City in the Abakaliki metropolis, where CCTV mounted at strategic junction to monitor road users and track criminals to their hiding place. When we came on board, we first introduced the neighborhood watch, which is another means of vigilante. But our own is a step up because most of the members are graduates and they have proper training. And so these people work day and night together with our very robust security chiefs to maintain peace. And I can beat my chest to say that Ebonyi State remains the safest city in Nigeria. We have supported the security agencies, including their wives that we empowered so that they will also have something doing to support their husbands. And we did this to ensure that roadblocks are eliminated, because where there is a gap that is met by empowerment of the women of security agencies, then the tendency to block the road will be reduced. I hope our security agencies are not here. We have just of late introduced forest guards together with the police and other security agencies, and the idea is to ensure that our forests are combed and to make sure that criminal activities are eliminated, especially from any foreign arm-bearing herdsmen. And this is very important. And let me announce that the Southeast governors, in their meetings 2 months back, agreed that we are in support of National Livestock Production Plan. We are in support of it, and we did say that from the one, even in the 60s, we had, our cows, kind of cows, that, been very big. And a number of our private sector people are also doing rearing of cow. And we announced that we're ready to support anyone that wants to do cow, wants to do piggery, that wants to do poultry. And a number of our people have come in the far south states to get some support, and they're engaging in this. And so as the chairman of the NEC committee on this, let me announce that it's a very soft way and very wise way to resolve the conflict between farmers and herders. But let me also inform that it is not compulsory to any state, and no state whose land is being grabbed. It is voluntary, both for state and for private sectors. It is important to clarify this matter. Education. Education is the bedrock of the foundation for the greatness of any nation or state. And I want to thank God that since we came on board, we've maintained 10th position in WAEC and NECO, but we want to maintain first position. And that's why we are engaging in training and retraining of our teachers. In the months ahead, we are going to train our teachers, and we're going to train them specifically in the syllabus they teach. And we set exams for them in the same syllabus. And where you don't pass, we have agri-vocational college, because we will not sack anybody. And I must boldly say, without prejudice to the fact that majority of our civil servants are also engaged in very highly productive sector like the teachers, the doctors, social workers, and so on and so forth. But, a good size of our civil servants also do not also have things doing because of shrinkage on our economy. And so we have vocational, agri-college where such people can go, because it's very dangerous to teach a child negatively. And we are going to engage with the Empower beneficiaries and some of our students and people that made first class on how to do this. Just a few months back, we introduced what we called King David Gifted Academy. And what we do here is to set up one school, one top school, where in every WAEC, we want to have 9 A's made. And it is not impossible. How do we get this? We've just finished common entrance examination, and we are getting all the best in all the local government and the quality of local government. We are starting with 65 girls and 65 boys. And all their parents need to do is to bring these children to the front of the school and leave them, starting from their underwears to their suits, to their food, to their medicals. Everything is going to be provided. And every time we do exam and you get B, you will move to the regular school. And those that we make A in other schools will come to fill the gap. And the idea is that we want it to be the source of employment for the nation of Nigeria, And we are not stopping there. After their secondary school, we are also sending them some abroad, some also in Nigeria University. We in partnership with them. This will create job for us. And let me also say that we have vocational education. We've introduced one in our market. And the idea is that we have opportunity for our market people to be trading and also be working. Let me also say that we have a vocational college we just opened. We are cleaning off our people from the streets, those who darken knowledge who darken counsel without knowledge. And what do I mean? What I mean is that you have some of our young people that are building motorcycles, that are building excavators. They have no platform, but they have the gift. We want to aggregate them. We want to clean them off the street. We want to develop the talent. And so we start with formal education to them, and then while also engaging technicians that will lift them up. You know, in Nigeria, if you want to do tiling, you want to do plastering, POP, most of the carpentry works, you have to go outside this country. This Center of Vocational Studies is going to answer to that. And so it will be a source of enrichment to our people to come and draw technicians from. This is very important. And let me announce that in the next few weeks, we will be injecting a total of 7.5 billion naira to education system alone, within the next 3 months. And the idea is to build ICT-based library, to build solar-based, boreholes, to bring some teachers as it was in the colonial masters and early stage of this country, so that they can live in school and instill discipline. Let me announce that we have people that go from school to instill moral, instruction to our students. This is very important. We have declared zero tolerance in our educational system that no Ebonyi child by January 2020 will be out of school. And this program we are doing with the federal government and with the World Bank. And I want to thank the local government chairman and all the people involved in this. In the area of human capital development, we have done quite a lot. And we created the Ministry of Human Capital Development to take care of our education, health, and empowerment. So when you hear human capital development, you're dealing with nutrition, you're dealing with health, you're dealing with education, you're dealing with empowerment. And this is very important because while we set the platform for the greatness of our state, Ebonyi, we must also nurture and bring up people, breed up their confidence, breed up their abilities, engage them in advocacy and training, engage them in attitudinal change so that they will be great and able ambassadors to mount the saddle to continue with our economic programs for the greatness of our state, Ebonyi. And so we have empowered over 3,000 of our youth at the cost of 250,000. We have also cleaned off over 1,000 of our people that hitherto were doing hawking at the Lagos streets. And for this, Ambode was very happy. If I had gone for second tenure, probably would have, empowered them because he promised to. I think it was a headache for him. So we have done that. We have empowered over 4,300 widows. We've empowered over 5,000 Ebonians. We bought Keke Napep to our people living in Anambra State who were doing Okada. We have empowered over 10,000 civil servants. We every month give 58 million to Father Abraham Mwali under the Department of Welfare and Religious Department. And do you know what we do? He engages the religious leaders at the rural areas. There are some people that have died out of neglect, they don't have 1,000 naira. They don't have 5,000 naira. We may recharge our phones with 5,000, 1,500. But there are some people at the rural area that need this 100 to live. And so what we do is that every month, we distribute some of these donations to our churches and other religious leaders. And then we go down to the grassroots to meet the very poor of the poor. And this we're very happy because when we evaluate what result that we see, we are very, very happy. And of course, our Lord Jesus Christ said that pure religion is to visit the poor in their affliction, to visit the sick, to visit the widows, and through this department we are doing that, and it's making us happy. And I think we are getting miracles out of this. On the area of solid mineral, let me say that we have a very robust program for our solid mineral. Very soon, Ibeto of Niger Same will become a reality. We are traveling to China in the next 2 weeks to evaluate the production of his machines and also evaluate the production of another machines that will be coming on at Ishelu local government. This is very important. Lafarge has almost concluded their investigation of Ebonyi local government for cement deposit. They have gotten 70% of their desire, and we are giving them another location to make up so that they can set the largest cement factory in this country. We are talking with Boa. They are also coming to set up cement factory. And of course, we are coming very hard in terms of our earnings in solid mineral, and this we must do. I'm not sure the Chinese like me because I insist that as we destroy the land, as we devastate the land, that we must not allow lead to go to our streams, which I think is the reason why we have, increase in liver failures, kidney failures, and this is very important. The environment must be protected for the future of our children. The environment must be protected for engagement by our children. On health and hygiene, we have renovated 13 General Hospital. We are presently equipping the hospital and providing permanent source of light. We provided permanent source of water to them. We believe strongly that in any health institution, you need light and water before you now go to other facilities that will make such a facility tick. This is very important. And in our teaching hospital, which has been taken over by the Alex Ekweme University, we are determined as a people, we are forging ahead. And that's why we are building a brand new College of Medicine where there will be a basic standard of dispensation of medicine and also teaching our people. But besides this, that center is going to be an center of excellence and tourism, medical tourism. And already we are talking to a number of investors. Gladly, one of the investors, two of them, one is providing total modern, comprehensive, laser-equipped operating theater, and we are going to be in partnership with him. And another is providing dialysis center and kidney care. And the good thing is that the dialysis center is coming also with the machines that will be producing the disposables, which is actually what makes dialysis treatments very expensive. This is very important. We are also talking with a number of medical investors on cancer center, eye center, pediatric center. In fact, our eyes are set on how medical tourism can sustain Ebonyi State side by side with agriculture and also solid mineral, plus our brain that we are reinventing. This is very important. On the area of power, in as much as we are working with the federal government, and we are very happy that TCN, in our renewed partnership with them, we are beginning to have about 18-hour light in some of our sectors in Ebonyi State. And this is because we have built an injection station by ourselves, and they have injected in a permanent, national grid line. We are very happy about that because that is now going to the international market. It's also going to Centenary City. It's also going to our new vocational schools. It's also going to the new government house. It's also going to the ecumenical center. This is very important. And I want to say that our pursuit of solar energy, wind energy, hydro energy, and the pursuit of greener environment, and to conform with the treaty that the federal government did sign on climate change, will be unstoppable. On tourism, we are working very hard to put a bridge at the Oferekwe axis of Ikwo so as to link our brothers in Cross River and create tourism center in that location. And same with Ndibe Beach. We are also having trade-free zone which the federal government just approved at Onwana. And we believe strongly that the Onwana beach is going to be dredged. And so with what the federal government is doing, trying to resuscitate the Calabar port, it becomes very easy for us to now use lighter vessels to transport our goods. We are determined to be importation nation, state, and also manufacturing state. And you know what the economy of China became? China, they got their economy, their technology from America. So as they were driving, they were studying the mechanism of the vehicles they were driving. As they were engaged in agriculture, they were understanding the kind of machines. And so they went back home and they started making mistakes. In Germany, we have a department that is called the Department of Tomorrow. And that's why I told my appointees, the largest ESCO in this country, over 90 of them, but none of them is resting. Sometimes they feel happier when I travel. But I always follow them up on phone. There is no retreat, there is no surrender. This is very important. And so everyone in Ebonyi State is engaged in doing one thing or the other so as to reposition the country where we are going. And so while you are importing ties, you set your eyes on production of ties. This is very important. And I've argued that we must also produce technology for agriculture that is home-based. It's very important. We have to. And that's why we quickly supported, the parboiling rice equipment that is being locally done here. And that's why we supported, equipment that is being locally done in the area of cassava. And are serving very, very well. This is very important. In the area of transport, we have created many parks. We have made our roads motorable. And I charge you that you can travel from one local government to the other within the range of 45 minutes. And I charge you that if you engage in any of the federal roads coming into Ebonyi State, you will not see any pothole the moment you enter Ebonyi State. There is no pothole. My wife is not left out in our soccer and upliftment program. She's a woman that is gifted to soccer, and her heart runs with meekness, forgiveness, and love. And that's why I'm sure today my food will increase in. And so she has done quite a lot together with Father Abraham Wali in reaching out to the unreachable, in building houses for the widows, in looking after that. Sometimes you have triplets that give birth. I don't know how she used to know. And immediately before I know, she has gone straight to see them, provide wrappers and homes and medicals. And so for this, I'm grateful to her. Together we sat our children down and we say to them, you must show kindness to the society. It is the Lord that has lifted us to where we are. And in every step of our lives, we must acknowledge that and know that it's not by power, it's not by might, but it's by God's special grace and mercy. And one project we have started in Southeast, which we are also giving very serious attention, is the connection of rails to the southeastern states. And that's why the SEREDEC is working with the Southeast governors. But back in Ebonyi State, we are also conscious of connecting the 13 local government areas with light rail, and to connect this rail with the airport, the stadium, and also the College of Medicine. And some people will say, there's nothing you will not talk. I'm an engineer. All I have done in the past 33 years is just engineering. And so I've checked and I've seen that to build the road for the rail, it is more expensive to build 8 inches concrete road than to build that. And I have predominantly very wonderful chippings that are available in Ebonyi State. And all I do is to engage the Chinese people to bring me their equipment. Meanwhile, over 70% of the jobs we do in Ebonyi State, we do it under direct labor. And we've made merchandises and engineers and businessmen and women out of our people. We've reduced capital flights to near zero, and it's very important. So what we do is that before we leave in 2023, we at least link the airport we are building to the capital city by rail. And this we will do. And this we do. And we pass over the entire thing to the next administration to continue. This is very important. And we have challenges. I'm coming to the end of my speech. And the challenges to achieving all this, preparing our state for the future. All we have done for our people. We also have the Department of Attitudinal Change. You see, the economy of Nigeria cannot make magic. Both Mr. President and the last person in this country are very important in the economy of our country. Corruption is one of the cankerworms that is eating deep into our system. And I must commend Mr. President and the man behind it, our own Magu. The fear of Magu is the beginning of wisdom. And so they have done extremely very well. But sometimes we sit down and ask ourselves, what legacies do we as leaders want to leave for our children? What legacies do we want to leave for our people? What is it that makes you happy? I've seen leaders that sat at the helms of nations. Within 2 years at office, they still need money. But you know, the Bible was telling us, said, lay unto yourself treasures in heaven that ants and criminals will not have access to. And what do we do? Is by building the poor, is by building our people. This is very important. And this we can do through fight against corruption. It's one of the challenges of our development. And so I commend Ebonyi people because we have since keyed in. If you're a contractor, you are coming for a job in Ebonyi, you just know that we don't do more than 10% profit. And that's why the contractors don't really like me. But I have just 3 years plus. When I leave, they will engage the next person. And we have extreme politics in this country. I was talking with one of the lawmakers of America. I said, why are you opposing Obama? He said, we are paid to oppose. Some people have not seen anything good. They just don't like you, and they darken counsel without knowledge. And our social media has not helped matters. You just sit in your bedroom and curate an idea that is totally false. And this is very dangerous for our nation. And that's why in my state we are pursuing seriously the implementation of the law on social media. I think you should clap because he has done also. You remember when we were challenged in South Africa, people were sending videos that happened in India and so many other places, raising tension and say they were happening in South Africa. And this is very important. And it's very important that we mind the way we dispense falsehood because it's not helping our nation. I believe in Nigeria that is built on love, equity, justice, and equal opportunities for all. I believe in Nigeria where we look beyond oil. I believe in Nigeria where we have love for one another. This is very important. And I commend the CBN and federal government for their funding in agriculture. We have since leveraged on that. This is very important. And our attitudinal changes, going up and down, telling our youths that there is no amount of miracles, there's no amount of fasting that will change our narratives without everybody engaged in working. You go to China, you will not see the working class on the street. You will not see the students on the street. You will not see the old men on the street. Everybody has got a place to be at every point in time. We can't change the narratives in this country if our youth don't have, a renewed attitude to know that there is wealth in agriculture. And I say to our leaders, we ate up the future of the youth. And so we have to pamper them and engage them in advocacy and training so that we can retune their minds to understand that we really mean well for them. And this is very important. And I challenge the leaders of this state. Evenings of every man and woman is quite challenging. That young man you are trying to help to build, that education you are trying to encourage, the product of that, they may have been the ones that would have kidnapped your children in future. They would have been the one that would have kidnapped you. You know, these kidnappers, they don't want to know about age. What they want to know is about money. I was told of a story of kidnappers that kidnapped somebody and got ransom, but the ransom was fake currency. And when they discovered, they said to the victims, God will judge you. So kidnappers also want justice. The kidnappers we have today were the people that our fathers oppressed their children yesterday. And so, knowing the wrath of God, the Bible says, He has commanded every man to move from the act of corruption, the act of neglect, to being our brother's keeper. And so, I look forward to having a Ebonyi State where there is equal opportunities as we have today, where leaders are bonded together that we have today, where we have every man and woman that is, engaged in doing something. And we've set a target for ourselves. And we said in the next 2 years, we want to have 60,000 of Ebonyi people, men and women in our web. And they want to see through agriculture and other forms of empowerment, they should have a balance sheet of profit of 1 million. And that will create a capital base of 60 billion. And then from then we can beat our chest and say of truth, we have come of age. And I want to say that the vision of our founding fathers, is on course. Because most importantly, we have peace in our state. Most importantly, our people have changed in their attitude. Our people have gone back to their cultural values of honesty, hard work, dedication, which we have always been known as Ebonyi people. And that's why if any Ebonyi man wants to misbehave, we say, are you really from Ebonyi? Who is your father? So we are very unique in character. We're very honest in our character. We're very promising hard work. And we are the people that the nation of Nigeria is waiting to happen. We are the miracles that have not been discovered. We are the Nazareth of this nation. And we will soon happen. And we will soon happen. And our platform is built on divine mandates. And our faith is built on nothing else other than our Lord Jesus Christ. And we are grateful to Him. Every time we say to God, we are grateful. For the things that happen in Ebonyi State, sometimes we don't know how they happen. We wake up to see how they happen. And we thank God for His wisdom. The Bible says that in all you're getting, get wisdom. Because money is defense. Wisdom is also defense. But the Bible says that wisdom gives life to those that practice it. Somebody asked me, what is the difference between knowledge and wisdom? And we say that wisdom is the right application of knowledge, which means it has to be divine. So I want to thank God for this opportunity He granted to us. It is a mercy of seed He gave to us. And He gave us fivefold covenant that we are looking fearfully and we are walking with caution. For the Bible says, by the fear of the Lord, men depart from evil. I want to thank Ebonians of all walks of life, thank the federal government. Sometimes people say, why do you praise the federal government instead of opposing? My job is not to oppose. I'm a government man. It's the party that is to oppose. But I say to the party, oppose constructively. This is very important. And any government that says it doesn't want criticism, it's not government. I've had to move forward in certain sectors of our governance through the right criticism. This is very important. But castigation of other governors and Mr. President and other government will not add anything to anybody. Rather, the Bible enjoins us to pray for our leaders. And this is very important. And so when I say that if you are in my government, you castigate the president or his government or any other governor or government, you will leave my government. It is my own appointees. So let the social media mind their own business. I'm talking to the people I have control about. And I have no regret about that. And I'm not ashamed to say I'm a friend to Mr. President. And I'm not ashamed to say I am PDP member. God bless you. Thank you. And thank you very much.
Humble family of Elder and Deaconess Joseph Omahiweze in Umunaga Uburu in Ohozora local government area of Ebonyi State. He attended Umunaga Primary School in Uburu from 1971 to 1977, where he bagged his first living certificate with distinction. Engineer Umahi started his secondary education at Ishago High School in 1978 and in 1979 transferred to the prestigious government secondary school, Afibo, where he completed his secondary education and passed his WASC examinations in Division 1 grade with excellent alpha performances in mathematics, additional mathematics, statistics, physics, and chemistry. While in government secondary school, Afibo, young Dave was made a library prefect. This was predicated on his academic exploits, in spite of the fact that the tradition in the school was that only students who started in Class 1 were qualified to hold any position in the school, such as school prefect. In the quest for higher education, the young but hard-working Dave got admission into the Anambra State University of Science and Technology, where he obtained a Bachelor of Science degree in Civil Engineering from 1982 to 1987. While in Anambra State University of Science and Technology, he was elected into the Students' Parliament as a senator representing engineering faculty and was very outstanding in all proceedings of the school's Students' Union Government Senate. At the completion of his university education, he enlisted for the NYSC scheme. Between 1988 and 1989, he did his national service in Saipem Spa in Benin City. While serving there, he was made a sectional head, Cathodic Protection Engineering Sector, in the 2.8 billion naira gas pipeline project from Escravos in Warri to Ebim Gas Plant in Lagos. He was honored with the NYSC State Award for his outstanding performance. After his National Youth Service Program, the vibrant engineer Dave worked with SCC Nigeria Limited, an Israeli company, water engineering giant, and rose to the position of project engineer. It was here that his managerial and technical competence was brought to the fore in his supervision of the historic Umahia Water Project and the Ndegoraba flood control measures between 1988 and 1990. From 1990 to 1993, he became general manager and shareholder in Norman Engineering and Construction Nigeria Limited, a company which he co-founded with the then MD of NAFCON Port Harcourt, Dr. Onbo Sokarari. Chief Engineer Dave Umahi was also the chairman and CEO of the following companies until March 2011, when he resigned his position and membership of all the companies due to his election into public office. They include Chairman and CEO of Brass Engineering and Construction Nigeria Limited, Chairman and CEO of Focus Investment Nigeria Limited, Chairman and CEO of Osborne Lapam Royal Resort Limited. Chief Dave Umahi is a unique personality. He is a man of many parts. In politics, he exhibits outstanding leadership qualities that make him a credible politician. From 2007 to 2009, Chief Dave was appointed the acting state chairman of People's Democratic Party, Ebonyi State. Following his performance as acting chairman, he was elected the substantive state chairman, People's Democratic Party, Ebonyi State, during the 2019 State Congress of the party, a position he held till 2011. As Ebonyi State PDP chairman, he built the biggest party office ever built by any political party in Africa, and the record has not been beaten till today. From 2010 to 2011, he was also appointed the chairman, governing board of the Federal Medical Center, Asaba, Delta State. In the year 2011, Chief Umahi was chosen by His Excellency Chief Martin N. Elechi, CON, as his running mate in the governorship election of Ebonyi State. Subsequently, he was elected the Deputy Governor of Ebonyi State on 26 April 2011 and was sworn in on 29 May 2011. His Excellency, Engineer David Umahi, on assumption of office, proved himself a very dependable assistant to Chief Martin N. Elechi in the administration of Ebonyi State. He was elected as third civilian governor of Ebonyi State on 12 April 2015. In the 16th day of March 2019, Governor David Wenze Umahi was re-elected as governor in the Ebonyi State governorship election. His outstanding performance during his first tenure made Ebonyans to troop out en masse and gave him a landslide victory in the polls. Since the coming of Engineer David Wenze Umahi as the governor of Ebonyi State, his leadership ingenuity has remained on the lips of every person. Governor Mahi was elected chairman of Southeast Governors Forum, a position he has held since February 2017 till date. Under his leadership, several pressing matters of concern on Igbo have been resolved, especially in the areas of security and development of the zone. He is also the co-chairman of Southern Nigeria Governors Forum, another exalted position that he has held firmly since January 2017 till date. Umahi was also handed over a national assignment as the chairman of Subcommittee on Herdsmen-Farmers Reconciliation, whose duty was to broker peace in their midst. The peace we are enjoying in the country as of today began after the governor told 8 different states of the Federation on the course of settling herders-farmers crisis, which he delivered peace in completeness. His Excellency, Engineer David Wenze Umahi, has redefined the concept of farming in Ebonyi State. Ebonyans no longer see farming as business of the old, but a lucrative business which everyone must venture into. As of today, there is no such thing as foreign or plastic rice in Ebonyi because the governor had long banned its entrance or consumption in the state, an effort that was geared towards strengthening the sales of a very much rich in nutrient species of rice and other farm produce. Ebonyi rice is sold across the country and beyond. Umahi encourages all appointees and civil servants to farm by ensuring that no public and civil servant in the state is idle but productive. Among his achievements that deserve to be in the Guinness Book of Record are the fact that he is the first deputy governor in the world history to be elected governor at the stiffest opposition of his boss, the first governor in Nigeria to introduce road construction with concrete pavement of 8 inches, which he did over 300-kilometer roads, first of its kind in Nigeria. The governor of the state that built the biggest ecumenical center ever built by any government in Nigeria, bigger than the International Conference Center in Abuja, with main bowl of 5,000 capacity, about 2,000 capacity smaller bowl, with modern lift escalators and offices and accommodation. The governor of the state that built the longest and most aesthetic flyovers in the southeast, with 3 number of such, having a total of 96 span built in 3 years, and has commenced another construction of 8 flyovers in strategic junctions and major highways of the 3 senatorial zones. The first governor in Nigeria to build a glass bridge tunnel with 16 spans with aesthetic lights that shines in the night. The governor of a state with street lights that shine 12 hours daily, performing optimally at the state capital and also in each of the 13 local government areas. The governor of the state with the smoothest road network in Nigeria. The governor of the state with the biggest rice mills in Nigeria and biggest rice milling cluster in West Africa, with a total of 24 metric tons per hour for government-owned rice mills and over 1,500 milling clusters for cooperatives. The governor of the state with the biggest fertilizer company in the southeast and south-south. The governor of the state that built the most amazing and sustainable fountain in the southeast, 7 in number at strategic locations. The first governor in Nigeria to procure land development equipment, 13 V8 bulldozer for land development and agricultural mechanization. The governor of the state with the best stadium ever built by a recent state administration in the southeast, and has ambition to construct one of the best in Nigeria. The only governor in the southeast to secure approval from the federal government to build airport under the Buhari administration. The only governor in Nigeria that pays workers' salaries 15 days to the end of the month. He is not owing a farthing. The governor of the state with the biggest mushroom farm in Nigeria. The first governor in Nigeria to introduce 1 man, 1 hectare agricultural policy for public office holders, civil servants, and farmers who participate in the state government agricultural programs. The governor of the state with the highest number of state executive council members and appointees in the federation, with executive council of about 90, while other appointees are over 3,000. The governor of the state that is constructing the biggest shopping mall ever built by any democratic government in Africa and slated to be the microcosm of the macrocosm of the Dubai Mall. The governor of the state with the highest empowerment profile in Nigeria, with over 4,000 widows receiving 100,000 naira grants, 3,000 youths and women receiving 750,000 naira grants, 400 tricycle grants to youth and women, 520 Ebonyans in Lagos State receiving 130 million naira grant, 5,008 clergy and pastors receiving 5.8 million naira grant, 403 wives of security agencies receiving 80,600,000 naira, all to go into entrepreneurial program. The governor of the state with the lowest insecurity profile and crime rates in Nigeria. The governor of the state that has the local government area out of the 774 that was adjudged by NUC as having the highest number of undergraduates admitted into the university system in 2017. The governor of the state that produced the best local government area out of the 177 local government areas in medicine and surgery admission into the university in 2017. The governor of a state with the biggest state pulverization machine in Nigeria with 200 empty tons capacity per day. The governor of the state.
His admirable wife. You're welcome, sir. We're privileged to have the Chancellor of the University of Nigeria, the Oni of Ife, here today, ably represented by 2 powerful members of the cabinet, Oba Adebisi Shegu Layade.
Okay, this is live. Can I use this?
Sure.
Thank you very much for your patience, and thank you, the media team from Ebonyi State, for that splendid performance. He tumbled in just before I could personally appreciate the guest lecturer for his stamina, unusual eloquence, and dexterity on the microphone. I do not have the... But His Excellency is at the successful end of your 8-year tenure. If you're thinking of what else to do, and if you need my opinion, sir, a visiting professorship wouldn't be a bad idea. Thank you very much. And the next, we're going to cut the 50th Founders Day cake. Remember, this is the birthday of the University of Nigeria. It's a big event, and a birthday is never complete without a cake. And there's no better person in the house to direct the cutting of that cake than our own Deputy Vice Chancellor of the University of Nigeria Enugu campus, Professor Edith Wosu. Madam, please.
May I respectfully invite His Excellency, the Governor of Ebonyi State, and his adorable wife, His Excellency, the Governor of Enugu State, represented by the Commissioner for Local Government Affairs, our own Vice Chancellor and his wife, no, we are going downstairs to cut the cake. Thank you. And all the principal officers, please. Thank you. Sorry. The representative of the Pro-Chancellor is please requested to join in the cutting of the cake. Of the Student Union Government, Professor B.I.C. Ijoma, to please join in the cutting of the cake. Thank you very much, sir. If you don't mind, can you place the Vice Chancellor? Thank you very much. Professor B.I.C. Ijoma, sir. Thank you, Music Department. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The University of Nigeria is 59 years old, and I would want to announce that listening to this lecture, it's a confirmation that this university has also gone through its own rebirthing. And so this is a new University of Nigeria, and we want to cut this cake to the glory of the Almighty God, the one who has given wisdom, the one who has given knowledge, the one who will take this university to the next level. I would count from 50 to 59. 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, and 59. Put your hands together to the best university. The university that is sited on Sovereign Hills. God bless you. It is well with the University of Nigeria. It is well with our nation, Nigeria. It's well with the lions and lionesses. It's well with our guests. Your Excellencies, you may please take your seat. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Music Department. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, DVC. Splendid job. Next, we'll take a special presentation for this occasion as put together by our own Department of Music Band. Please, can we take the special presentation now? Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Music Department Band. And next, the Vice Chancellor will make the traditional presentations of appreciation to the guest lecturer and to the chairman of today's occasion. So may I most respectfully, therefore, invite the Vice Chancellor to make the presentations on behalf of the University of Nigeria.
Your Excellency, I hope you wouldn't mind if I ask you to order you to stand up for now.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, Your Excellency, in appreciation of the lecture you delivered today to the university community on this 59th anniversary of this university, the University of Nigeria, I, on behalf of the council, the senate, the management, the staff and students of this university, present this little souvenir, a plaque, in commemoration of this presentation. Congratulations, sir, and thank you very much. We appreciate. Don't worry, let him see this first. Remove all those. Okay. Again, Your Excellency, this is a comprehensive university, and we believe in your own kind of agenda. Life after oil. Life, that's what I've christened your lecture, life after oil, crude oil in Nigeria. And being a comprehensive university, Your Excellency, we are, what will I call ourselves? We are Mahadum, because we do everything. That's our music department, the international music department. The first of its kind in sub-Saharan Africa. And because we are Mahadum, we also have a department of fine and applied arts. And that was the dream of our founding father in the 50s. Indeed, you have given the history of this university. Perhaps Zig started dreaming in the 40s and put it into place 59 years ago. This particular portrait was produced by our own Department of Fine and Applied Arts, the first of that kind of department south of Sahara. And we are happy and proud to present this work of art to you, Your Excellency, for keep in your sitting room. I'm sure mommy will not be jealous. Maybe in future, we'll detail our Department of Fine and Applied Arts. We'll detail our Department of Fine and Applied Arts to produce also this kind of picture for mommy of Ebonyi State. And as I said, I'm proud to present this to His Excellency, the Governor of Ebonyi State. Congratulations, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah. Onyeze. Members of the university community, as I was introducing His Majesty this morning at the conference room, I made, sir, you can sit down. You can sit down. In case, well, you must have heard the first indigenous registrar of this university, the man who made it possible for this university to take off after the Civil War. And some of us, if you don't know, for those who are inside this room that we are not in the conference room, Some of you may be carrying the WAEC certificate signed by this man sitting here. And I wish to congratulate you, sir. And I wish to thank you for all the good work you've done for humanity and for Nigeria as a whole. In appreciation of your handwork and your good work, as I said earlier on, the labors of our heroes past shall never be in vain. And it is in appreciation of this, sir, that we present this token to you, His Royal Majesty. Thank you very much, sir. Congratulations. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor, for playing that role also well. I liked the special presentation to the chairman, His Royal Majesty. So it's always a pleasure to have you in our midst. And for as long as you can make the arduous trip, please do come. May the good Lord keep you in good body and mind so you can continue to be of importance to the generations behind you. Thank you, sir. Yes, His Excellency, the guest lecturer, would want to respond to the gifts. His Excellency.
Thank you. Again, Your Excellencies, the Pro-Chancellor, the Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor, and your wife, Greater Ebonyi women, Greater Ebonyi people, thank you very much. Thank you. Let me, on behalf of my wife and our government and the good people of Ebonyi State, thank the entire university community of our place in Nsukka. Ebonyi and Nsukka, they share a lot, both in cultural values, in our way of behaviors, in our determination to forge ahead despite obstacles. And so we are very excited to be in Nsukka, accidentally the hometown of my very good friend and brother, the governor of the state, who has worked so hard to transform the state to an enviable position. So, Vice Chancellor, I want to thank you first for naming one of your structures after me. And for these two beautiful gifts you gave to us. My wife asked me, where is the doctorate degree or professorship award? I said, better go and ask the Vice Chancellor. He said he's doing convocation. I won't forget because such award is almost equal to certificate. So, Vice Chancellor, I'll be waiting to know when you are doing convocation. I have to come. So, thank you also for looking after Ebonyi people. But we also discovered that people will never give you trouble in this community. I'm going to see them after this. Very proud of our people anyway there. I'm not expected to say a vote of thanks, but I most deeply appreciate the university committee, from the chancellor, pro-chancellor, the vice-chancellor, the senate, the council, and everybody who has made today a huge reality. Thank you very much. And I must thank Ebonyi people, our leaders. All of them are here in their numbers. I can't mention all your names, but I want to say I'm deeply, very, very grateful. That's why when you call me to attend your function, I will leave my church service to attend. So when I invite you for my own, I'll be checking who did not come, so that when he invites me, I will not go. But everybody is here. My beautiful market women are here. The ESCO members, National Assembly, leaders, Elders Council. I can't thank you enough. I will ask you to join me as we see the Ebonyi community immediately after this. It's very important that we greet them. And so to support this project, sir, because I know the building you would have put in my name wouldn't have been completed. You see, I'm now saying never they completed. And so, but do you want my name on our completed building? So this, we must start the process of completing it. So we put the first seed offering towards the realization in the sum of 20 million naira. In Ebonyi State, we don't make promises. We may not be so rich in pocket, but whatever we say we do it.
Thank you very much. His Excellency, thank you very much. His Excellency, as you can see, there are a number of groups who are eager to make presentations to His Excellency. And I have the Vice Chancellor's permission to allow just 2 of such presentations to His Excellency. The first is a presentation from the National Association of Postgraduate Students of Ebonyi State. Can someone step forward and make the presentation, please? Yes, you can step forward and make the presentation on behalf of the microphone, no microphone, please. Thank you very much. Where's the other group? What's your own group? Sorry? What do you have? Sorry? Yes, the Southeast Council of SUG Presidents would want to make a presentation as well. Thank you very much. Please speed it up. Thank you. Please step forward and make your presentation. Yes, that's correct. That's very correct. Thank you very much. Can we take the vote of thanks now? Can we take the vote of thanks? The university orator will give the vote of thanks. Dr. Ikenna Nwebuna, please step forward and give the vote of thanks on behalf of the University of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please allow our guest to resume his seat. Thank you very much. Thank you. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. Mr. Chairman, sir. Permit me to rest on protocol already established. Please, can we have some quietude, please? Enough. Hello? There'll be time for music. Please, we want to hear ourselves.
People are too many and we cannot drive at night.
Enough. Thank you very much. Thank you for that performance. Thank you for that wonderful performance. Okay, thank you. A round of applause for the performing group. Thank you. Thank you so very much. You know, before now, it was fashionable to say, practice what you preach. But today, the slogan has changed to preach the practice. In practice what you preach, the preaching goes before the practice. But in preach the practice itself does the preaching. And that is the model that Dave Umahi has given us. The 59th Founders Day lecturer of the University of Nigeria, His Excellency, Chief Evangelist David Nweze, Apostle, Associate Counsel, David Nweze Umahi, Ekobaroha, Adu One, Nuburu Adun Shegbe, Ojimini Akpeko. we're very happy that you were able to make it here. The purveyor of the mega metropolitan miracle of the capital city of Abakaliki, the city where I was raised and bred. We're very glad that you were able to make it, and we are very happy with your presentation. And so we say, Anya asang tokwe hu, tokwe hu, tokwe hu. I haven't seen anybody here who is not smiling for your presence and presentations. And even in our dreams, we will continue smiling for this presentation. For truly, you have proven that the Biafranism as expressed by the chair is a reality. And we're happy to be part of it. We thank you so very much. We equally thank the Vice Chancellor, the first alumnus Vice Chancellor of the University of Nigeria, for providing this forum for the miracle of today to happen. And that way, the Vice Chancellor himself is equally a miracle maker. It's equally a miracle that the first registrar of this university left his palace in Ikeleon, the 11th of Ikeleon, Uguaro. That you're here today, again, refires our desire to live the creed of this university. We thank you so very much for being here. You can see that today's event is a very big one. And like we said earlier, we are likely going to stumble on protocol, and we have done that. But compensation is that the lecture took care of whatever anybody may have felt for not being mentioned. And so we say thank you so very much to the alumni, to the executive of Ebonyi State, executive of Enugu State, the Abakaliki and Ebonyi community, Ndieze, our Lord's spiritual and temporal. We say a big thank you to all of you for making it to the 59th convocation lecture of the University of Nigeria. Your support for the university is forever cherished, and we will give everything to ensure that we live by the ideals that we preach. In other words, we strive, rather than practicing what we preach, to preach the practice. Because in preaching the practice goes ahead, and then the preaching follows. We thank you so very much for this. We thank members of the Governing Council of the university. We thank everybody. We thank, and we are full of thanks. We will come back next year for the 60th anniversary of the university. And I'm praying that God will keep all of us to witness it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. There are a number of announcements, but before that, may I request the chairman to make his final remarks? Sir, do you have the energy? Please, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It will be a criminal offense to attempt to make any comments or to summarize or to do anything about the lecture, which has been developed, read out or presented in such a fantabulous manner. All I like to pray is that we find how to disseminate the contents of this lecture widely beyond this hall, because this will benefit also to other states, particularly the other states of the Southeast here, because it's interesting to see how much has been done. You know, one had ideas about what was going on here and there, but it's the most impressive account of what has been going on in Ebonyi State. And I think that all the other states should benefit from it. And I think the Ebonyians who are everywhere in eastern Nigeria should be made to know the contents of what their governor has told us here. So we want to thank the governor for the fantastic presentation, thank the university for inviting him here, and we pray that there will be ways of disseminating the information so that others can learn from what we have learned today. I wish everybody safe journey home, and so that we can get back to our destinations with God's care and protection. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can I make this announcement rather quickly? Thank you. First and foremost, the governor, His Excellency, has requested that Ebonyi citizens resident in Nsukka wait at the entrance or at the exit so he can give them, so he can address them right after this as he makes his exit. And next, order of refreshment, the Vice Chancellor's guests, including the guest lecturer and his entourage, the principal officers of the university, members of the governing council of the University of Nigeria, deans and directors, will be entertained at the Presidential Lodge. You know where that is. And then guests from Ebonyi State will be entertained at Niger Room CEC, the other guests. But I understand they're leaving rather immediately. Thank goodness we were smart enough to have their lunch pre-packaged. So we've arranged for that to be moved straight to their vehicles so they can have the meals while they roll. The Ndigwe Nandieze in the house, as always, we'll have some seats for you at Restaurant 1 of CEC. And Ndigwe, I'm sure you know where that is. That has been the place traditionally. And then the rest of the university community will be entertained at Margaret Ekpo Convocation Hall. And again, we know where that is. One more announcement, there's drama night at 7 p.m. Venue, same venue, is the Arts Theater, the new Arts Theater. And that is it. For our closing prayers, may I have the chairman's permission to request that we use the second stanza of the national anthem as the closing prayer so we can save time. The music department band, if you are ready, please play us the second stanza of the national anthem if we rise as we pray. Thank you. Standing, the Vice Chancellor's procession will leave in reverse order.
Thank you.